The Saab JAS-39 Gripen, or Griffin, forms the primary fighter wing of the Swedish Air Force. The type is a highly advanced aerial platform utilizing the latest in digital controls and weapons delivery, all the while being produced in a modestly sized and highly streamlined package to strict Swedish Air Force requirements. In the 1970s, the Saab 37 Viggen began to go into service with the Swedish Air Force as the nation's first-line combat aircraft. Swedish military planners then began to look down the road for a next-generation fighter to follow the Viggen. While US-made aircraft such as the F-16 or F-18 were considered, the Swedes had proven capable of building their own first-class combat aircraft tailored specifically to their requirements. Besides, modifying a foreign aircraft to fit the tightly linked Swedish defense network system would have been troublesome. In 1980, the Swedish Defense Materiel Administration, or FMV, issued a requirement to Swedish manufacturers for a next-generation combat aircraft, then known as the JAS, Jagd, Attack and Spaning, which translated to Fighter, Attack and Reconnaissance. As the name would imply, it was to be a multirole combat aircraft, with excellent performance and a high agility to counter new Soviet fighters then going into service. It was to be simpler, cheaper to maintain than the Viggen, and easy to turn around quickly to ensure a high combat sortie rate. Long range was not a requirement, as the FMV traditional focus was on the defense of Sweden and not the projection of power. The JAS-39 has been in operational service since 1997 after a relatively long development period. Export interest in the aircraft has grown with the loosening of typically strict Swedish export rules and their historically neutral stance on the world stage. To date, the JAS-39 stocks the inventories of several air forces across the world, and more than 240 have been produced in single-seat and twin-seat variants. The Gripen remains a major global player in the realm of advanced lightweight fighter designs, able to undertake a variety of mission roles from air defense to interception, ground attack, armed reconnaissance, as well as training. The Saab Gripen is comparable on the world stage with the American General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon and the Russian Mikoyan MiG-29 Fulcrum. The history of the JAS-39 is quite extensive. By the end of the 1970s, the Swedish Air Force found itself looking to advance their frontline fighter capabilities over that of the aging Saab Draken and Viggen. The Draken, with its unique double delta wing and single engine design, was introduced in March of 1960 and managed a successful, if modest, existence with several air forces, being produced in 644 units from 1955 to 1974. The Draken was developed to replace the outgoing Saab J-29 fighters. Comparatively, the Viggen made its presence known in June of 1971 to 329 examples produced from 1970 to 1990. This type was developed as a broader solution and sported a more conventional delta wing profile, with forward canards and a single engine design. Work on the replacement of these aircraft began in 1979. Studies began in 1980 to produce a modern end product worthy of Swedish Air Force standards that could undertake a plethora of required battlefield roles. In 1981, a consortium was formed that involved Saab, Volvo Aero Corporation, Ericsson GEC Marconi, and FFV Aerotech to design, develop, and produce various portions of this new aircraft program. The group became known collectively as IGJAS, with IG standing for Industry Group. 2 years later, in 1982, the Swedish government formally approved funding for this project, which led to an order of 5 evaluation prototypes and a further 30 production-quality aircraft. Project requirements stipulated a multirole airframe, capable of Mach 2 flight, that was to be of single-engine design to help keep production costs low. The aircraft would also utilize composites as a weight-saving measure and hold on to provisions for air-to-air and air-to-surface weaponry of various types. The new aircraft design would be all modern in its nature, utilizing the latest in fly-by-wire concepts, aerodynamic principles, tracking and engagement equipment, and field short runway takeoff and landing capabilities, the latter to coincide with the utilization of Swedish roadways in the event of an invasion or attack. Keeping with Swedish military traditions, the new advanced fighter concept would have to sport an acceptable mission turnaround window during times of war. Most importantly, of course, all of this would have to come in under budget without overruns. Volvo Aero Corporation was given local licensed production rights to manufacture the General Electric F404-400 series turbofan engines, also known as the RM-12, and it would be this power plant that would power the new jet fighter. Ericsson GEC Marconi was handed the job of designing the powerful PS-05A pulse Doppler X-band radar system. The end product would, therefore, be very fast, agile, and with exceptional output power from its single-engine installation. This new fighter would be in the same classification as the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon or Northrop F-5 Tiger, yet wield the capabilities of much larger multi-role types, such as the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle. The end result of the project became the JAS-39, a very sleek design incorporating a large area, rear-set delta wing configuration. This removed the need for horizontal tailplanes while increasing internal fuel loads and external weapons-carrying pylons and capabilities. The wings were low-mounted on a slab-designed, tubular fuselage frame to which the gently sloped nose cone capped the front end. Below the nose cone sits a powerful search and tracking facility that allows for look-down, shoot-down capability and multiple target tracking and scanning, all delivered to the pilot in real time. The cockpit is situated behind the nose cone with a two-piece canopy that features light framing and excellent all-around views. The pilot sits in a requisite ejection seat surrounded by a digital instrument panel, which features 3 full-color multimodal multifunction displays, which allows for push-button mission package selection. The pilot can switch from air-to-air and air-to-ground attack at will. HOTAS, or hands-on throttle and stick, keeps the pilot's view up and away from the instrument panel, and a wide-angle heads-up display atop the forward panel displays pertinent mission information and weapons information. The digital nature of the Gripen cockpit was such that the pilot maintains mission awareness and communications through an integrated real-time data exchange system. This became formally known as the Tactical Information Data Link System, or TIDLS, with other Allied aircraft, essentially a group of up to 4 networked Gripen aircraft working in concert. The aircraft's design was inherently unstable, but this was offset by the use of digital fly-by-wire technology, which constantly manages the aircraft during flight, ensuring smooth, assisted performance. The practice of using unstable designs coupled with fly-by-wire technology was increasingly used to design new aircraft that continues to today. The Gripen's cockpit is straddled by a pair of rectangular air intakes that aspirates the single-engine installation buried deep within the fuselage. The exhaust of the engine is channeled through a conventional circular exhaust ring at the rear. The empennage is also capped by a sharp, clipped vertical tail fin, which is seated above and ahead of the engine exhaust port. A pair of canards, which are essentially small pivoting wings that supplement the main wings, are affixed to the sides of the intakes for increased stability and agility at various attack angles and for short-field takeoff and landings. Amazingly, the JAS-39 requires just 2,625 feet of total runway space for takeoff. The undercarriage is fully conventional and fully retractable, featuring 2 single-wheeled main legs and a double-wheeled nose leg. Overall construction revealed as much as 20 to 30% of the airframe being composed of carbon fiber composites. At the time of its inception, the JAS-39 was the most advanced fighter anywhere in the world, since supplemented by the 5th-generation Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning. The Gripen's built-in armament consists of a single Mauser BK-27 27mm cannon, housed in a fairing on the aircraft's belly offset to the left of the rear engine intake. Given the aircraft's relatively small size, it generally carried guided weapons to ensure maximum combat effectiveness. The primary air-to-air missile used is the Raytheon AIM-120 AMRAAM. The Gripen's PS-05A radar can guide 4 of these weapons simultaneously. Swedish AMRAAMs have had minor modifications to fit specific specifications. Other possible air-to-air missiles include the French Matra Mica, the British aerospace Skyflash, and the built-in Swedish RB-71. While by no means a stealth fighter, engineers ensured that the Gripen delivered a reduced radar signature compared to comparable aircraft. The JAS-39 program began as the Project 2105 designation, which graduated to become the Project 2108, finally evolving into the Project 2110. A Saab Viggen was hastily converted in 1983 as a flying lab of sorts to be used when evaluating the required fly-by-wire program, as well as other components to be used in the Gripen. The first production-quality aircraft was unveiled in April of 1987. This also marked the 50th anniversary of the Saab company. The public gave the JAS-39 design the now accepted Gripen name, and the Saab JAS-39 Gripen was officially born. Delays in development meant that a first flight was not recorded until December of 1988. In February of 1989, the prototype was lost to an issue related to the fly-by-wire software, though the pilot did survive with minor injuries. In the following year, the software was revised and the program continued to progress. The second prototype went airborne in May of 1990. Although the Swedes have traditionally been reluctant to export weapons, the end of the Cold War led to the relaxation of this policy. In 1995, Saab formed a partnership with BAE Systems, named Gripen International, to sell the Gripen on the world market. Saab was forced to seek international sales for the Gripen, since the Swedish government contract for the fighter was so tight-fisted that Gripen's international president Hans Kruger once said he'd lost his shirt, tie, and jacket on the Batch 1 deal. This arrangement allowed Saab to leverage off the British firm's international marketing clout. BAE Systems felt that the Gripen could neatly fit their product line between the Hawk and the Eurofighter Typhoon. 3 years following, BAE Systems obtained 35% share in Saab. This arrangement didn't last, however. In 2005, BAE Systems finally reverted all marketing back to Saab, the Swedish company having acquired enough clout to do the job on its own, and that was effectively the end of Gripen International. There was skepticism in the aircraft industry that the Gripen could meet the competition from American and French manufacturers, but events have proven those skeptics wrong. The first export success for the Gripen occurred in 1999, when South Africa ordered 28. Initial deliveries began in spring of 2008. The South African deal was heavily contested, but in late 2001, Hungary committed to a 10-year lease for 14 Gripens from the FLV. Deliveries of the Hungarian Gripens began in 2006, with final deliveries in late 2007. In 2012, Hungary extended the lease for another 10 years to 2026. Immediately after the Hungarian purchase, the Czech Republic announced a preliminary agreement to buy a batch of Gripens as well. Although the deal ended up being put on hold in 2002 after Central Europe was hit with some of the worst floods in recent history, governments quickly scrambled to respond to the emergency, but afterwards it was revived, resulting in a lease deal established in 2003 for 12 single-seaters and 2 two-seaters. All deliveries were performed in 2005, with the lease deal extended to 2015, and further extended to at least 2026. Saab has also exported the Gripen to Thailand and Brazil. Bids today remain alive to varying degrees of health with Finland, Canada, Botswana, Colombia, Croatia, India, Indonesia, and the Philippines, with another dozen or so countries expressing some interest in the aircraft. The Gripen has a long reputation for being pilot-friendly, with easy-to-grasp displays and a relatively uncomplicated interface. With respect to lethality, the Gripen was the first fighter in the world to carry the deadly Meteor air-to-air missile, a beyond visual range or BVR weapon that can track and kill targets at a range of up to 80 miles. The Gripen C can carry 4 Meteor missiles, while the Gripen E can carry up to 7. In terms of specifications, the Gripen has a max takeoff weight of 16,500 kilograms and a speed of Mach 2. The Gripen E has super cruise capability and a range of 1,500 kilometers. The Gripen does exceedingly well in both BVR and dogfighting combatants. To date, the Gripen has come to serve as the modern mainstay of a number of second-tier air forces, offering a low-cost but effective option for countries that do not expect large engagements in serious conflicts. Nonetheless, the Gripen's impressive capabilities should serve air forces well, if they ever became entangled in one. The low cost and ease of maintenance suggest that when the time comes, the Gripen will be ready to fight. Well everyone, that wraps it up for this episode on the JAS-39 Gripen. Let me know what you think of the aircraft below in the comments, as well as any pertinent information I might have missed so others can learn as well. If you'd like to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.